Tip.
Good afternoon. It is August 14th, 2019. You're listening to a Little Column B, Little Column A, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. You know, in all the times I've done this intro, that's the first time I ever screwed that up.
Yeah, that was a little different. Threw me off.
Yeah, I'm trying to do too much on the one end here. And normally I would start this over, but let's just proceed. I don't think we're going to need a lot of time fillers in this. All right, I'm a little tired.
I think every once in a while I should get to go first.
You want to go first?
You know, every once in a while. I just think, just throws a little wrench in everything, keeps people on their toes, find out if they're paying attention or not.
You know, I panic so much about the date, and I don't know why I do that. I right there, it's in front of me. I have two screens in front of me. Both have the date in the corner, and I always get nervous every intro. It doesn't even matter.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, the whole maybe we should start over with a different, like, the whole ready to go live in 3, 2, 1, and it just seems so pressured, like so start and go. And anyways, Little Column A, Little Column B. We'll leave notes here. Zach's here. Make sure you check out the website lcalcb.com, as well as check out Zach's Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Yeah, getting the plugs out of the way early here. Lot to talk about today, and by that I mean we are just counting the days until football starts and basketball is actually in full swing. And I guess until baseball suddenly gets exciting. But in the meantime, football, I guess, more or less kind of started. We've had some preseason games. We've had some talk. We've already had some injuries. We have some contract holdouts. Let's get into all that. I'd say the Hard Knocks this year really picked the right team in following. Are they still the Oakland Raiders, or are we saying LA or Los Angeles Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders? Look at me, I'm all over the place today. It's gonna be this type of podcast. Get ready.
They're still in Oakland.
They're still in Oakland. Okay, well, whatever. They're the Hard Knocks team. They got the cameras following around, and of course, Antonio Brown can't even help himself with it. He's just always going to be in the news. I don't think he'll ever find a way to not be on it. The second he's on the second page of the paper, he's doing his job wrong. But have you seen his feet? I know we talked about this, but I actually saw it yesterday in the Hard Knocks episode where they showed it a little bit more. Have you seen the bottom of these feet?
Saw the feet. That leaked out last week. That actually, I believe, leaked out before even the story of, hey, he accidentally went in a cryo chamber without proper footwear, which we discussed last week. So I'd already seen that picture, and I thought that was just normal, I guess, wear and tear of how calluses work with football players. It didn't super surprise me. I know they'll show basketball players' feet every once in a while. I believe Shaq's like the go-to of just, his feet are all sorts of messed up. But it makes sense. You're an athlete. You've been an athlete for a long time. You're constantly on your feet. You're constantly back and forth. And it just looked like, okay, he's got a bunch of really big calluses, which makes sense if you're doing all that cutting. So it wasn't pleasant to look at, but I wasn't super surprised. And then it kind of went further of like, that's what a burn looks like from a freeze, like a freeze burn.
You know what? This is gonna sound like a Quentin Tarantino kind of question here. It's like, I really wonder what everyone else's feet looks like now. Of what's really the wear and tear to the average athlete. Like, I don't think we really noticed a whole lot of that. I mean, I've heard of the big guys I've heard of the big guys kind of always struggling, just because I don't think human beings were naturally supposed to be that big. Like, it doesn't even matter how proportionate and how well you take care of your body. Just being that large of a human being, it has to have a lot more wear and tear on you. But the feet especially. All right. If you were in those kind of situation, you had these giant calluses and there, it looks like half your foot, like on the bottom, is about to just peel off. How long would it take you to come back? Average normal human being here. Like how long are you? How long are you waiting before you get back out there?
To the similar speed of Antonio Brown, but I mean, from just playing pickup basketball, I've gotten some pretty nasty blisters, and I don't know, you patch it up and you try to play the next day, pretty much.
It's
I'm not playing at nearly that level.
AB is still staying in shape. He did a couple drills, and it's funny they're asking him to go half speed, but he's also trying to show something. New guy on campus here, as well as he's competitive as ever. He doesn't go half speed. He's got one speed. Of course, this didn't work out.
He's got to be kind of embarrassed about it too.
Well, it's not. Do you actually think it's his fault? I actually think he has innocence in a lot of this. A lot of the drama he's caused over the past couple years is his fault, but this I actually don't think is his fault.
uh, you went in without the proper footwear. I just feel like you're an adult. You're not a child. There has to be some level of, hey, I'm normally wearing something in here. Why are you sure? Just something, and I don't know. It just hasn't come out yet.
All right, so
And
you're putting
it's a
some
track
blame on
record
him.
thing as well.
You're putting some blame on him then. I just think someone else
Oh,
should
majority of the blame.
really. Because I think the responsibility needs to weigh on someone else here. Like someone else needs to be like, hey, make sure AB doesn't do something stupid. Like there's not somebody following all these players around entirely focused on that. Like how do we not make this guy make a mistake today?
It wasn't at the facility. It was when he was on vacation in Paris.
And he travels on his own. He's doing all this on his own. He's got no entourage, no crew. All these movies and TV shows have lied to me. These guys just travel solo with their family.
I'm not saying he's traveling solo with his family, but I mean, look at his track record. He kind of does what he wants to do.
I suppose that's
Like
true.
if I'm part of your entourage and we're going out, and I go, "Hey, Will, you might want to put some sunscreen on. We're gonna be outside, at the beach all day." You just go, "Nah, dog, I'm good. What farther am I supposed to do? Like you're the superstar."
Fair enough. Well, I did want to talk some Hard Knocks. I haven't watched the series in a while. For anyone who's unfamiliar with it, it's a HBO show where they go behind the scenes of an NFL team all through preseason. I'd say it's probably mostly famous for you get to see what players were undrafted and what players kind of become and make a name for themselves, as well as what players you fall in love with that eventually get cut and hopefully move on to another team, and some do not move on to other teams. It's actually most do not move on to other teams. What do you most like about the show though? Do you miss like the locker room atmosphere at all? Being like a former athlete, former high school athlete. I guess I can't just say that.
No, that's an athlete. That counts. I think there is a little part of that. You don't really see on game day. You don't really see a lot of the behind the scenes. Sure, you see the guys warming up at the beginning a little bit. There might be, hey, here's the speech in the locker room, but there's really a lot more to it. And you also, as a high school athlete, but this is more specific to football, it's just there's a lot more of you're on your way to practice. You're hanging out before practice, hanging out after practice, and there's just a bunch of downtime where you're just kind of hanging out and you're meeting people and you're finding out weird stuff about people, and some of the drills that you see that you don't see on Sunday of just like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. They're talking in last week in the first episode about hitting the 7-man sled. Hitting the 7-man sled was the worst. It was a conditioning exercise, and as a skill position player, I wasn't really moving it that much. I was up there, I was doing the best I could, but that was not my not my main role. So it was much better for the big guys that could actually move it. So that's just one of those things like, oh yeah, that's right. So there's definitely some nostalgia there. And then I also get sucked into the more reality TV portion of it, where it's just guys are getting cut. There's it's just like they're out to dinner and just the goofy stuff that are happening. I can't remember that safety's name, but he was just like annoying and just like, I'm country. Like, I'm not gonna say salmon correctly. I'm gonna call it salmon. Like, yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. And just like the look on Derek Carr's face of just, I guess, man, you can do what you want, but you were gonna be in places and you might as well say it correctly.
For
so
me,
I definitely like that portion as well.
For me, I hate the reality TV kind of part of it. I don't like that it's it's edited, all right. It is kind of constructed to be it's not naturally entertaining. Sure. It's definitely cropped to have this vision of a story that may or may not. It's like very loosely based, I'd say. If you kind of understand what I'm going with here. But one thing I do immediately recognize though, especially with all these rookies and these young guys, is just how young everyone actually is. You just forget.
Yeah.
Like you hear the salmon story you just said right now. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe this guy, maybe from where he's from, he's never had that chance, or he's never been out to a restaurant where that's been like that. I mean, just the restaurant they're already at. I mean, you can already tell, like, all right, this is somebody in their new element. This is not something they've done before. Everybody's kind of everyone's having a new experience right now, which is even true for some of the veterans. Like even Derek Carr, it's like, all right, well, he used to be this guy. Now he's been in the league for a couple of years, and he's taking out the rookies. That's the first time he's kind of doing that as well. So you can seeing a lot of these guys being put in these new situations just socially is probably the most interesting thing about the show. but I could do without all the. There's a lot of forced drama. But one thing I think this specific season, being with the Raiders, you get a lot of speeches. And John Gruden, if you're gonna get a speech from a coach, John Gruden's the guy. Like I think he's the only guy you could actually build a TV show around. Of like, all right, we're just gonna have a lot of coach speeches, a lot of just behind the scenes kind of stuff like that. I think he's exceptional at that. I could use a Gruden speech just about every day of my life just to kind of pick me up. Are you getting that kind of feeling? Or, I mean, you watched a lot more Hard Knocks than me in the past. Are most of the coaches kind of like this?
Didn't. I mean, I didn't watch. I didn't watch last night's episode yet, so maybe he's got more to it. But I just, with John Gruden being on TV for so long, and I think there's the Caliendo factor. I just like don't take it super seriously. Like you were saying, oh, I don't like, the stuff on the side because that feels like it's kind of created drama. It just feels created and it feels formulated, and it just we're not trying to create dreams. We're trying to create nightmares. It just like it's a line, and I'm sure he's gonna have more of them, but just it just like melds in my head. It's like, did John Gruden say that, or did Frank Caliendo say that as John Gruden? Because I could easily see there's just like a formula, and you could just say certain things and zebra, y, banana, and it's just over and over again. So I feel like the coaches, for sure, even more than the players, are used to the camera and can kind of play it off, and probably might even have like a little more say in what gets played and what doesn't. So that seems even more formulated than some of the, like you mentioned the restaurant scene.
I don't know. I'm all right with Gruden. I at least like that he's comfortable on camera. It doesn't feel like he's constantly fighting the show, and that everybody on this team has pretty much embraced it. I'd say AB and Gruden are two guys. I mean, you could easily have a team like the Patriots where nobody would want to be on camera, nobody would give you anything. It would feel very forced, and it just wouldn't be as interesting. All right, there is. I do give some credit to Gruden being entertaining and actually putting an effort into kind of making the show what it is. Maybe that's a little forced and a little extra on top there, like you said, a little over the top at times, but I'm all right with it. It's supposed to be a TV show. They're playing into it. I think I'd rather a coach kind of lean into it rather than fight it.
Yeah, I've heard some interviews with guys that have been on the show in the past, and basically there's not really an opt-out option, really. It's almost like everyone's mic'd up, and they have the boom mics, and they have the cameras all over, and they film all the time. Like there's not really any not filming time. So I don't. Yeah, like I said, there's not really an option to opt out.
Yeah. Well, anyways, catch up on that. Those are Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock HBO Eastern.
Yep.
Eastern time, something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
About an hour long. So get out your HBO subscriptions, and it's probably, if you're a big football guy, I'd recommend the show, especially this year's
or
drama.
reality TV.
Or reality TV. Yeah, if you're into all that too. So if you already got a whole bunch of reality TV lined up, this will just fall right into that. But you know what? Let's talk about some new changes right now. The NBA released some new changes for the NBA schedule. That I don't know. I feel like they tweak the schedule every year, and I don't know if any of the last changes have really made quite the difference. All these rests, they're trying to figure out how we can essentially get players to play every single game, and I don't know if there's an actual solution to all this. I think regardless of how you do the schedule, certain players and certain coaches and then certain franchises are just going to give guys the nights off. Like I don't think that's ever turning around. I think that trend is here to stay. But what do we got this year for some of the new NBA schedule updates?
Once again this year, there'll be no 4 games and 5 nights, so that's good. They're getting even less back-to-backs. On average, there's going to be 1 less back-to-back for each team, which seems small, but it's going from about 14 down to maybe 14 and a half down to 13 and a half, where it was closer to 19, 20 only 5 years ago. So headed in the right direction to at least try to encourage guys to be able to play most of the games. I agree with your thoughts there. But the bigger part, slight tweak, but very helpful for me. Not as many late games. Those Tuesday, Thursday TNT games, rather than starting the second game at 10:30, looking to start more of them at 10 to 9:30. Huge play. Huge play. They said they got a lot of people watching on the East Coast, and that some of these games, it's not unusual for them to end around 1 in the morning, which if you have school, you have work the next day, you just can't pull that off. So if you start at 9:30, I can easily get a half in, and then can kind of make my decision from there. When it starts at 10:30, there's a good chance like I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to watch a quarter. I'm just the heck with it, and I miss out on a lot of West Coast basketball. A lot of Damian Lillard, a lot of Lillard time missed.
I was gonna say a lot of these late games end up being teams like Portland or Dallas or even San Antonio. A lot of the times that really rarely get like the headliner kind of thing. Like they're always the second showing of it. Like the big matchup's kind of the first one. And you do miss out on a lot of good games because these are a lot of the younger teams or a lot of teams I would say have the most to prove, that have the most to play for at the moment. So you do miss out on a hell of a lot of games. I mean, if you got a chance to see Portland this year, I would definitely recommend tuning in. Lillard last year at the playoffs was phenomenal. So that's exciting news. Are those just
moving that? Last year there were 57 games, nationally televised games starting at 10:30, and then this year they're going to drop that down to 33. So that's
all right. That's a big change.
That's 42%. That's a significant margin, and I get that. On the West Coast, it's a little tricky for fans, possibly to be able to get to games because it's going to be putting it a little closer to rush hour. But I'm going to be selfish about this one. This helps me out.
Yeah, all right. Well, all you East Coast softers out there, life just got a little bit easier if you want to be a basketball fan, especially if you're fantasy. Yep. Your whole fantasy, like the football is the perfect fantasy where everything more or less airs, Sunday afternoon. And at least for me, it's Sunday morning into Sunday early afternoon. It's not even late afternoon. Versus with basketball, man. One, there's a million more games, but just the timing of it. Like I don't know how you could do it on the East Coast. There's just no way you could potentially watch it or even have a feeling for every game every night. It's a hell of a lot more work. So anything that helps you guys.
Do you want to hear some of the primetime matchups that we're going to be getting? Not gonna go too deep, just a handful that I've picked out.
All right, fine. Let's get this over with. I know you want to talk about Kyrie returning back to Boston. You want to start with that or end with that?
Oh, we can start with that.
All right. When is Kyrie coming back to Boston?
That's one of the ones that is the star player returning to the team that they just left, and this one has the most effect for me. And man, did they give Boston all the ammunition. The Brooklyn Nets will be making their way to Boston for the first time next year, or actually this year, November 27th. You know what day of the week that is?
Oh, you told me that's before Thanksgiving,
right? It
is
the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It is the day before everybody does not have to work the next day. So I can imagine that is going to be a raucous party atmosphere, and it's going to be a good time. And with the schedule coming out and tickets coming out, one of the times of might need to look into going into that. That seems like it's gonna be a fun playoff type atmosphere, and I think Kyrie's gonna be ready to go, and I think the fans are gonna be ready to go.
Kyrie sits out that game. It's too early. It's too soon. There's no way Kyrie plays in that game. He'll have some sort of injury. It'll be announced the night before he's not playing in Boston. I'm telling you, he skips this game.
I think that we would love to run with that one. I'm sure we'll have some chants ready.
It's going to be too soon. It's going to be too soon. He's going to have no Kevin Durant. There's no way they're going to have any chemistry at that point. It's so early in the season. And I think it would almost be a smart decision to avoid all of this because you don't want Kyrie to get upset or to have any reason to ruin another locker room. I think they avoid this at all cost. He doesn't even go. Kyrie stays in Brooklyn. I'm saying that right now. He doesn't play for Boston until at least another year. I'm sure he comes back. Is there another time? I mean, we're in the division.
Oh yeah, we're in the division. We got to play each other a bunch of times.
Yeah, I don't think he plays the first one, so I wouldn't necessarily.
But there's only one time that is right before Thanksgiving, which also a bunch of people will also have the Friday off, so you can really start your partying.
I'm all for it. I hope it's a great game. I hope we have fun with it. I just hope Kemba needs to show up. Does he have a lot of pressure on himself this year, or does he have none? I really can't tell. I feel like every article I read, read about. Is Kemba going into a high pressure year replacing Kyrie Irving,
No,
or is he coming into a
no, not at all.
anything you do, anything you do is going to be a plus because we could have had nothing, and we could have had that guy that really we didn't like. So anything you do is okay.
Pretty much. Last year was just so much not fun. Even if it's just a like normal level of fun, it'll be good. I think only like a Hayward type injury would definitely put a damper on it, but no one would blame him for that. No, he's going into a real nice situation of just whatever he can bring, going to be good. He's definitely going to play a bunch. He's finally going to get to play on national TV, which I think he's going to enjoy. He's definitely not afraid of the spotlight. I think we all know that. As well as he's not going to do stupid things in the locker room. And like, there's the talk of, yeah, certain points of the season, Kyrie just wouldn't talk to his teammates for 2 weeks. Like, what? How is that possible? Like, you're on a professional team together. You travel together. You go to work together. You practice together. There's downtime together. I just don't know how you just don't talk to teammates for an extended period of time, as well as it just seems like a very childish way of managing things, and just on all the just weird stuff of what does government mean to you?
does he need a John Gruden speech?
Don't be weird.
Do you think he needs a John Gruden speech? Is that what our team was missing?
No, I don't think so. I think that the expectations are much lower this year, and no one's expecting Kemba to take over and lead us to the finals. We can have a decent year. I think that everyone will be pleasantly surprised, as well as it sounds like he's taking a leadership role and is having a real good time on the USA team right now.
You mean the USA Celtics team?
Yeah, USA Celtics team, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of Celtics on that team. Anyways, let's get back to the schedule here. I don't want to talk too much Celtics. Is that the Celtics minute for the day, or do we want to? Anything else you want to add here?
No, I was gonna bring that one up later, but I was gonna. There's some other premier events. Opening night, Toronto's gonna host number 1 overall pick Zion Williamson right off the bat. That is going to be an electric atmosphere, and then followed up by Lakers Clippers.
Ooh,
there's going to be some games that I stay up for. I think, opening night, that's going to be a fun night of basketball right there.
That's going to be
so many storylines, so many different directions, so many new players, new areas. It should be 2 great games.
Oh man, you think Zion steals the W? They're all distracted with their the ring ceremony. Statistically, that's got to be a thing, right? Normally, the team, both teams, I think, struggle that day because it's the kick off the year, so it's a lot of new nerves right there to begin with, and then it's such an unorthodox game with the way they do the ceremony beforehand that I think both teams do generally struggle. Toronto's going to be a weird team this year, though. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of shoes to fill. You just lost Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. There's a lot of shots available on that team. I don't know who's going to be taking them. I don't know who's going to play them off. As well as you're going to have this New Orleans team that's coming in with Zion Williamson and a whole bunch of redeemed team Lakers right now that are going to come out and kind of have something to prove here. I'll take New Orleans on that one. The second one, I don't know. I think that's going to be a toss-up. That's going to say a lot, though, about who's going to be the dominant team. We're going to know a lot on day one between the Lakers and Clippers after that. But that's fun. We kick right off with that. That's opening night. Is that Halloween?
Yep, October 22nd.
Oh, early.
October 22nd. Yeah. That's they started that last year to move it, earlier to help with the back-to-backs. And anytime we get basketball a little sooner, that works for me. Note on Zion. Pretty sure I've heard this, and this is a real thing. Is the first, I'm gonna say, like, premier rookie to get featured on opening night since Derrick Rose.
Oh, to have one of the opening nights. All right.
Yeah, where it's like he's the headliner. Where I'm sure there's been other rookies that have played. Even this one, there'll be rookies that play that night, but not it's Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans at the Toronto Raptors.
Is he an automatic
Pascal
starter?
Siakam's.
Do we know if he's starting?
What's that?
Is Zion automatic starter? Like he's in?
Oh yeah, he's the number 1 pick.
I don't know.
Who'd you start over him?
Well, maybe not on that team. I don't know if every number one pick automatic starter. Did LeBron start his first game? I don't think LeBron started
I
his
want to
first
say
game.
yes,
I don't
but
think
I
he
don't
did.
know.
I don't think LeBron did. I think he
That
sat
might have
out like the
been
first 2 minutes.
that might be an I'm gonna call it a previous generation's coaches kind of thing of just like, oh, you're a rookie, you don't deserve to start, and we're getting more into the player empowerment and just, oh, he's gonna be your future, yeah, start him, play him, don't do this whole mind game. No, you gotta sit the bench for a little bit. If he's ready, he's healthy and ready to go, put him in.
All right. Well,
that's what people are going to see. They're going to see the ring ceremony. Canada's going to see the ring ceremony, and everyone else is there to see if Zion's going to dunk on somebody.
Oh man, I can't wait. That'll be a fun night. So that gets everything started right now. What other matchups should we be looking forward to? That's got to be number one for right now, though, because that's day one,
that's
first
the top.
night.
I don't want to get too deep into it. We're still pretty far away, but those were the main ones off the top. And as we get closer, we'll definitely touch on this some more.
It'll be fun. You know what? It's gonna be really cool to see what kind of numbers the TV ratings we get for that. Like who tunes in, where the viewership's gonna be awesome. Like how excited are you if you're the NBA and Zion is your first kickoff and the numbers just go through the roof of people that just want to see this guy?
I bet they will.
Like that's got to be. I'm betting a record-setting night for the NBA. All right. Well, while we're on the topic of records,
I was listening to some NBA guys when he was going to do his premier summer league game, and I'm sure some of this is hyperbole, or maybe all of it's hyperbole, but even if it's crazy hyperbole, still kind of puts it up. When they were like in the arena for that, the hype of him in warm-ups was similar to like AI at his peak in warm-ups, or like the Shaq Kobe Lakers, where everyone in the stands is standing up while the teams are warming up. Everybody's standing. Everyone's like excited. No one's sitting down. That's a high company to be in.
Yeah. I can't think of anyone anywhere near that kind of attention grabbing, and I'm in it too. Like I'm not even against it. Normally, I think when that many people follow that it's that much of a trend, it's kind of like, oh, I don't want. What's everyone seeing all this? Like you could find another side of this coin of like, this is overhyped. This is too much. And I'm in the whole bandwagon. I'm on the wagon with this. I can't think of any reason not to be excited for Zion Williamson.
If the intern could mark down the episode and the time of this that Will said he's all on board with the Duke bandwagon, if we could just mark that, that'd be great. Thanks.
Oh man, well that's gonna get cut out. All right, that's the 28th minute. Make sure you check out the website LCA. I've already wrote it down. That's getting cut out. You're gonna get muted right there. If you managed to listen to this one, you heard the unedited version. Make sure you check out the website lcalcb.com. Lots of good podcast stuff on there. Listen to all the old podcasts as well as learn a little bit about Zach and I on there. Well, while we're on the topic of record setting, because I do think that will be a record setting night, let's kick this off our regular game show here. Let's let Zach set the record straight here, which is a game show we play every single show, where Zach is going to read off 3 Guinness World Records, and I need to figure out which one is false and which 2 are true. So without further ado, Zach sets the record straight. What do we got this week?
All right. If my numbers are correct, you're under 500 now. So that means that I'm winning. Just to make sure that everybody's aware of that. But okay, let's go.
Glad we're keeping score for all of that. This is great.
Yeah, like I said, I was only going to remember the score if I was winning. First one. Idaho man sets record for juggling basketballs. Little backstory: he completed 220 catches in 1 minute while juggling 3 NBA regulation basketballs. That's number 1.
It's in a minute.
NBA basketball juggling. What was the question?
That was in a minute?
In a minute.
Ooh, that's quick. All right.
The next one. World's largest wedding cookie table set up in Pennsylvania to set the record with 50,000 cookies. We have basketball. We have cookies. And now we're going to have cold.
All right, initial thought is that's not enough. That's not enough cookies. I think somebody could do better. That's a lot of cookies, but all right, next one, last one.
The last one, Austrian athlete spends 4 hours in box of ice to break record.
4 hours in a box of ice. Is that what AB was
4
doing?
hours.
Is that how his feet got frostbit? Is that what he was doing?
I'm not sure, but when I saw it, that's definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that I got in here, because I thought it would be a nice segue for the Antonio Brown stuff.
Oh man, I wish I knew that going in. Yeah, that would have been a great segue. All right, so we got the juggling basketballer that has allegedly was it 220 some odd catches in under a minute while juggling 3 men's basketballs. That seems pretty doable.
Yep.
Although that does seem really fast. I don't know. Second one is the cookie one sounds real. Like I'm already convinced that somebody would spend that kind of money and have 50,000 cookies there. I mean, weddings can be big. Weddings can be massive. So I'm gonna say that one's true too. This ice one is the one that's got me kind of like. I'm very suspicious of it. I'm gonna say the guy that was trapped. What was an ice whatever for 4 hours. I'm gonna say that one's false.
You are correct.
Oh, look at me.
You are correct. He was only in ice for 2 hours.
Yeah, 4
only
hours is a
wearing
long time.
Swimsuit.
Hey, I did.
2 hours, 8 minutes, 47 seconds. Submerged up to his shoulders in a box of ice in front of a train station on Saturday. Yeah, that was a tricky one because I thought that if I made it only like 2.5 hours, that was too nitpicky. And I thought 4 was too much. It's like I doubled it. I thought you might get caught up on the 50,000 cookies. That just seemed like a crazy number.
There's weddings can be massive. I mean, some weddings are the biggest gatherings of the year. I mean, it's not every wedding.
Cookies.
It's not every wedding. I just know some people enjoy the really large wedding, and when you have a lot of people, like that's something. This is how it gets out of hand. I mean, this is weddings in general. This is what happens when it's a constant snowball. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, regardless of what you do. So I wasn't that impressed by that. Now the juggling thing, I wasn't sure. The basketball juggler, I don't know how long or how many taps you could do it. Like I guess you could do it super fast, but then that would make it harder if you did took your time with it. Then I don't think it's as hard. But then you got to do it in under a minute. So that one I was a little hesitant on, but it seemed possible. Both those seemed very possible. Versus the 4 hours in ice seemed suspicious. Because I don't think I could do that. Is that the bad part about all this? It's like, yeah, I think I could do the other two.
Yeah, I thought maybe I could distract you with the basketball ones. There is a video of him doing it, and it's as impressive as juggling basketballs is impressive. He's not doing it any faster than I would say a normal juggler would do it.
Can you juggle? I can't juggle.
Like a tiny bit.
I feel like that's
not nearly any sort of professional or anything, but I mean, if I practiced a little bit, I could juggle 3 like stress balls or something for a little bit.
Yeah, no juggling for me. But that just seems like something that I could learn to do a lot faster than any of the other things. But anyways,
you're just sitting in ice for 2 hours. Just seems boring. Mind over matter. 50,000 cookies just seems like it would take you a while to bake that much.
Not if you purchase.
That seems like a pretty expensive venture. I didn't know that you were independently wealthy all of a sudden. You should send me some cookies.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. My parents are making them right now, so every year they make cookies for these guys make a killing every year. The Greek Fest in Pittsfield, every Greek Fest in general. Actually, I'll say this like across the country. They make their money on their pastries, man. They get all these donations. They have all like the people part of the church make like 100 cookies a piece, and then they sell them for I mean they're nice cookies. They're not like knockoff cookies. They're very authentic, and it's an expensive pastry. They do well with all that. But 50,000 cookies, yeah, that would be expensive. That would definitely add up quick. And I'm just doing off the math of how much these Greek cookies are, and yeah, that adds up. 50,000 is a lot of cookies.
I can vouch for that. Anybody in your family making any sort of dessert really is always delicious.
Yeah, good stuff for all that. So they're working on that right now. I think they did those last night. Um, for the Greek Fest in I think it's in 2 weeks. And it's normally around the end of the month. I don't know if you're around in Pittsfield, go check that out. Or if you see a Greek Fest near you, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, a lot of good food. Go out and do that. Well, while we're on the topic of some food, let's transition into some very questionable vodka making here. I don't know how you found this article or why this article is trending or why we're actually even talking about it, but apparently scientists have created a drinkable vodka from Chernobyl water and Chernobyl grain. These in Chernobyl. Am I understanding all this?
That one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, where the nuclear meltdown happened. That one.
All right. Well, I was gonna hold off reminding everybody because I think it was kind of straightforward. But yes, I
Just want to make sure they're not thinking maybe maybe we're not pronouncing it right, or maybe they must be talking about something else. Because who in their right mind would decide to do this?
I think that I think you're kind of playing into the rebel side of it a little bit, and I could see the marketing gain out of it. I just don't see the initial idea of it. Like, yeah, you know what? Let's get something real badass like people be into. You know, let's get that Chernobyl vodka. Like look at us, we're badasses. We're having this. So I see some sort of the appeal of all that. I just don't see who would want to start to design something like that, and it seems like a very difficult task as well as an immediate uphill battle. I mean, you're associating yourself with something terrible to begin with. This is not like a friendly reminder of like, yeah, this is remember these good old days. this is a stretch for me. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in the vodka. It sounds dangerous, and I think that helps the appeal of it, but it definitely doesn't make it attractive. It makes it a bad decision, which most vodka probably is to begin with. Any interest in trying this vodka or purchasing it? Is this available for purchase everywhere?
I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of it, and they're calling it atomic, so aptly named. I'm not seeing any sort of distribution, but no, I have no interest in trying this. This seems like a real bad idea. I really get a line from Jurassic Park of we spent so much time trying to figure out if we could do it. We didn't stop to think about whether we should do it or not.
What are you a little too old for your grain alcohol now? Huh? You can't handle some grain?
What do you mean grain? It's vodka, but it's made where stuff. They say it's drinkable, but people have been wrong before, and it seems like drinking radiation is a bad idea.
I imagine if there are side effects, you will not feel them immediately. These will be something you regret years down the road. I'm like, why did this happen to me? Well, you played with fire that one night, however many years ago. This seems like a long-term effect kind of thing. Like, you won't notice it today. Like, this is a future problem. And I don't know anything about it. So if someone has tried it and they're already worried, well, you took your gamble. You had your shot.
I think that I do a bunch of other stupid stuff, and I take other risks in life that I don't need to really be inviting one like this.
Is it just regular vodka risky enough? I mean, you can make plenty of bad decisions with just that. I don't think you need anything more. There's so many different vodkas too, though. The flavored ones, I think, are the big trap of everything. I don't think I particularly enjoy any of the vodka flavors. I don't think it's ever really added anything. But saying it was made somewhere, much like a lot of the whiskeys and scotches of the world, where it's made has a lot to do with your expectations of it. I don't know. What would you expect out of this? Like, if this was a good tasting vodka, would you actually consider getting it again, or are you avoiding it purely off of the potential dangers?
It just doesn't seem smart. It could taste really good, but just seems like an avoid.
All right.
To avoid radiation poisoning, which I've heard is bad. Not a lot of pro radiation poison people out there.
All right. Well, we've pretty much talked all we can about this topic. Then, I don't. Moving on to something interesting that someone is doing in Virginia, of which they're going to house in a small town, leaving a TV on the porch. Now, when you say leaving a TV, this sounds like an old box TV. I'm assuming are being left on porches, which they are heavy, they're obnoxious, they have very little value, and they would be annoying to get rid of. Am I understanding this story correctly? This person is leaving old TVs on porches, or are these brand new, flat screen TVs?
Um, you are right on the box TV. The one thing that you're missing is they're dressing in like a mechanic's onesie outfit, and they are wearing a tube television on their head.
Wait, like a hat? Like it's covering their entire head.
No, yes, covering their entire head, more like a mask.
It's like a paper bag.
No, well, I mean, like a paper bag and how it covers the four, like front, side, back, and top of your head, but not like a paper bag and it's made of paper.
Is the screen part cut out, or are they just looking through the glass? I mean,
It does not seem to be cut out.
all right. What is the point of this whole story? Why are they leaving TVs on porches, and why?
I don't know. That's why I brought it up.
And why
because I was hoping between you and the listeners, we could figure this out because these poor people in Virginia are trying to figure it out themselves. They don't know why the prank's happening. Well, we got to figure it out for them.
What is the prank? Do you think this is just some like delusional old person that thinks these are like valuable TVs, and he found like 1,000 in his bedroom?
That's not how you bring valuable stuff to people. When you're bringing something you think people want, you put on like a nice button-down shirt, and you bring the thing, and you knock on the door, and you introduce yourself. And you say, "Hey, I have this really cool thing for you. Would you have any interest in this?" "Oh, no, I don't want any money for it. It's just for free. This is some delicious banana bread. I don't know. I can use some banana bread." No, this is creepily at nighttime. Cops are pretty sure that it's more than one person. And I think that the headline for this is a little aggressive. Torments Virginia town. They're just leaving TVs, maybe not so much tormenting. But, you read a little further. This wasn't a onesie twosie thing. There's been at least 60 TVs left. Where do you even find 60 tube TVs in 2019?
Man, that's a lot of TVs. I don't know where you store 'em. These are heavy things too. Like I imagine this is a full-time job he's taking on here of this gift giving.
Yeah. Well, a combination of 60 TVs. Where you get that many? One of them was quoted as being 13 inches, so a little smaller. But some of the ones I saw were more like the 24-inch ones that are like those are hefty. Like to pick those up, you really gotta want to do it. It's not like just putting light stuff on people's doors or on their porches. There were a couple of videos from people's porch cams, like kind of the same ones you'd see for the like people stealing Amazon packages or something like that. So it's kind of like a static. And yeah, guy just walks up real slowly. You can tell it's nighttime. Puts the TV down.
Oh, he's doing this at night too.
Turns around, walks away. I don't know how he's able to do this 60 times without one person picking up on it.
So we don't know who this
guy is.
How
was one person not awake? How was one person not driving by? Like, how does he not get chased by one person?
So we don't know who this guy is yet. This is a story, but we still don't know who this is. This is a mystery person.
Ongoing story. So be careful. It might be coming to your, area. Yeah, this news just came out yesterday. Wearing a TV on his head, like a mask. Super goofy. Yeah. No one's been hurt. Nothing real bad's happened. But the police are saying it's definitely what's the word they use? Not uncomfortable. It wasn't unusual. It was something like just kind of like, hey, no crime has happened, but suspicious.
Suspicious activity.
No crime has been committed, but if you spot suspicious activity, get a hold of them. And then I'm kind of surprised by this, but the police said to help people out, they're going around and collecting all the TVs for people to help them so they don't have to bring it to the dump. So I thought that was nice of them. I don't think they had to do that.
Yeah, that definitely isn't what I would expect their day to be part of. Like, oh, you know what I got to do today? I don't even have to do police work today. I have to go lug a whole bunch of old TVs to clean up after this guy.
Super heavy.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
Super heavy TVs.
That does not sound like a good way to spend your day. Um, Very interesting story, nonetheless. Though I don't know what to think of it. I don't know if this is like a future scary movie being happening in front of us right now, or if this
That
is
was
just,
my first thought.
or if this is just a very very strange, weird guy on way too much Chernobyl vodka kind of experience. Like what kind of drugs is this guy doing to come up with this idea? Or what gain of all this? It's just so much work to get. It's not. Is it even funny? Like, is this supposed to be funny?
It doesn't seem that funny.
Yeah.
I guess it's mildly funny in the fact that you create work for somebody else, like the same way if you put, a bunch of sticky notes all over somebody's car where like you did a bunch of work, they come out and it's like, oh hi, like now I gotta do a bunch of work, something like that. But yeah, it's just just seems to be a weird prank, and it's also weird too that it seems to be coordinated. Like it's not one guy; it seems to be at least two working in tandem. So it's not just one guy is just out there. More than one said, yes, this is a good idea. This is what we're doing tonight. This is our plan.
I don't know where this goes from here. I mean, what's the next level up on this? Like, start dropping it off at pawn shops? Be like, no, we won't give you anything for this. All right, well, is it cool if I just leave this here anyways? Like, I don't know what his
They're
next.
not going to do that.
What's his?
I think they're going to run out of tube TVs.
You actually you're under the impression that this is a they thing. This isn't just a one person. You think this is a group effort?
That's what the police said.
Oh man, this is bizarre. This is a very strange story. It makes
I
me
think
uncomfortable.
like too many TVs were left for it to be possibly just to be one guy.
Is there anything scarier than not understanding why something is happening? It's not
I
even.
think it definitely adds to the scariness.
The unknown part of this is very weird.
Unsettling.
Very, yeah, that's the word.
Loose.
Good word there. It's a $5 word for the day.
Nice.
All right. Well, speaking of unsettling, this has been an unsettling podcast because we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. But we got about 13 minutes left here. Anything we're supposed to get to that we didn't get to? We're gonna talk some Jay-Z Rock Nation partnership with the NFL. I don't know how much of a story is really there.
You seem to have some conspiracy theories here.
Well, my whole thing is that Rock Nation started to become an actual like agency of representation where they are agents. They're not even just music agents. They're agents just for across the board. They have sports athletes there. I think they have a variety of other people or just bigger names. And this partnership, I'm really trying to figure out why both sides want to do this. Is it a good money move? Is this the NFL trying to save face to look better after the commissioner, albeit making a lot of money over the past couple of years and growing the league, not really being the best public image representer. I wouldn't say he has a whole lot of fans on his side right now, but he's making money and the owners seem to be happy with it and the players are still there. I don't know if this was a relation kind of thing like that. Like let's associate ourselves with. I assume Rock Nation is a well-liked, well-received, a well-respected kind of place. I think Jay-Z has a lot of mutual friends that, as well as just an accomplished name to be attached with. I don't know what's the real gain of all this. Like, why is the NFL doing this? Do you have any guess at all?
Isn't the idea to help get Super Bowl and other halftime acts to perform?
I don't know if it's entirely all that. I mean, I think it's more player representation related as well. Like, I think they want to help. I basically think they want to prevent a Kaepernick thing from ever happening again to try and keep all sides cool. Like, I think this will be playing with the union a little bit better also. But that's a big assumption. I don't know. I don't really see why either of these sides need each other. I think they're both doing fine on their own. Together, I don't see them becoming that much bigger or that much stronger. But also, it's not the worst affiliation either. I don't know. I feel like I could have a whole lot of conspiracies on this, but nothing's really sticking either. It's something that just happened. And it's really not that interesting to talk about now that I've already said a couple things about it. So with that being said,
that's kind of where I was. It was like, okay, this is news. This is big corporate news, but definitely didn't have any conspiracy theories. It's just like, oh, one giant company is joining with this other big conglomerate, famous, guy. Like, oh, okay. I guess this is news because it's the preseason, but if this is mid September, I don't even think this comes up on our list.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. I don't think it's as music related as you think though. I don't think it has anything to do with
Yeah,
that.
maybe. Yeah, I didn't read into it too much, or maybe I just kind of saw the Jay-Z, and I thought I saw something about Super Bowl halftime show, and so yeah, maybe I just made some inferences that were not completely correct.
Possibly. I mean, that would be one of the benefits of partnering up with this. Is I imagine Rock Nation and Jay-Z could, really, if you had a request for somebody and they were under that name, I'm sure they can make that happen. If that's what they wanted. But I don't know. I don't know what the future of all this is. It's an interesting partnership. I know he was an NBA owner with the Nets years ago, and then he sold his partnership in that to get the money to do this whole I guess sports agent. It's more than just sports. It's just any agent. I mean, I think they have Hollywood people as well.
No, he had to. He had to do that because he couldn't be couldn't be a minority owner and be an agent or the owner of an agency because there's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, so that's happening. We'll see where that kind of goes. I don't even know. Is he a Cowboys fan? I don't even know what team he supports. I don't think he's a Jets or Giants fan. I don't even know if he's a football
I have no
fan.
idea.
No idea. Anyways, let's wrap the show up here. I'm gonna start playing some music and we'll get things wrapped up. So I just want to remind everyone to go check out the website, lcalcb.com. Lots of good stuff on there. Check out some old podcasts. We tend to post some videos. Anything that we've talked about today will also be on there. If not, make sure you already check us out on all the streaming platforms, whether it's Apple Podcasts. I don't think it's iTunes anymore. Spotify and Google Play Music. We're on all those as well as all the other podcast streaming websites and apps. Make sure you follow Zach at his Twitter, which is
We Can See Man 24.
Yeah, lots of good stuff on there. What do we got going on there? What are we watching these days?
Watching Vikings right now.
Vikings. You watching Viking Quest?
No, just Vikings. One on the History Channel.
And as a reminder, we do stream live on the website, lcalcb.com. Also, if you haven't already purchased some of the merch, we do have our own merch. If you want some podcast websites or T-shirts, those are also on the website. So check those out there. Anything else you want to add for the people out there?
I am excited for football. Just to get a little closer every day. We're getting really into prep for fantasy football, and before you know it, we're going to be in the middle of fantasy football drafting, which is one of the best times of the year.
Almost there. Can't wait for that. As well as I can't wait to have some more sports topics to talk about on the podcast here. Any listener, if you have any topics or have any interest in being on the show, make sure you reach out to us. And thank you, as always, for listening. I'll let the music play out from here, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. Thank you, and we're out.
Little column A, little column B.